everybody, and welcome back to Active Quest. This is episode 24. My name is Joseph Yaden. I'm your host today, and today is our special E3 predictions show. We've got a packed lineup today, so I've got Chris Penwell here. Hello, Chris.
Hey, very happy to do this. It's one of my favorite episodes to do each year.
Oh my god, I love it. It's so much fun, and it's going to be interesting to see how wrong we are at the end of E3, but it's fun nonetheless. And Josh Nichols. Hello, Josh.
Hey, what's up, man?
How are things? You sound beautiful today. Why is that?
I work with a guy at work that edits audio, and I was getting some tips from him, and he was like, you could soundproof your room. Another easy way is blanket fort, and I was like, blanket forts sound fun.
You are in a blanket fort right now. And
yes.
Today is very special because we have a guest today, and that is Alex Derickson from the PlayStation Forecast. Hello, Alex.
Hey, buddy. I like how you asked Josh. You said, you sound beautiful today. Why is that?
That's a good point, yeah.
Almost accusatory.
Well,
usually I don't, yeah.
Well,
like, what are you doing in
here? Who
here?
does he think he is over there,
right?
Sounding so beautiful?
No, I get it.
So yeah, today this is going to be our E3 prediction show. We're going to try to get through a little bit of news as well, just because I don't want to let go of all that important stuff that happened this week, or negate to do that, because there's some important stuff to talk about. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say that, Alex, it's really awesome to have you on the show. You're very important to me. If there was no PlayStation Forecast, there would be no Active Quest. So I just wanted to say thank you for everything, and you're awesome. And I love what you're doing over there. And everybody should go listen to the PlayStation Forecast because it's amazing.
Well, thank you.
And watch his streams because they're good.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
What did you stream recently? What were you playing?
Last night I streamed Disney's Aladdin and the Lion King on the Genesis.
in honor of the Aladdin movie, right?
Yeah. But then I also got real sleepy because Double or Nothing, the wrestling event I was watching, ran way later than I thought.
I was watching that too. Actually, I was at some restaurant and they were showing it, and I didn't even have any context. I wasn't planning on watching it, and then I saw Jim Ross was over there doing announce work, and I'm like, I thought he was at WWE. What happened? What is this? So I don't know when he left. When was that?
It was recent because AEW technically only just started like a few months ago. Like they had their own kind of kickoff event September maybe, November. I don't remember. Months run together. And then this was like their first official, like, we are a thing, we are a company, this is what you can expect. And then their actual weekly product starts on TNT in October.
So this was like a pay-per-view.
Yeah, but there's like actual Hardy wrestling competition again. But I was under the impression it was only going to be like 8 to 10 or like 8 to 11, and it got to be like midnight, and I'm just like, I am sleepy.
Yeah.
So I streamed Aladdin and Lion King for like an hour, but other than that, it's every Wednesday I'm on Twitch and YouTube and Twitter streaming.
Yeah, and feel free to promote yourself and everything. We want everybody to take a look at your stuff.
Thank you.
So cool, yeah. And so today, like I said, we've got some predictions. We've got 3 each, so we're gonna do round robin style to get through that. And then we've got some news to talk about. The Sonic movie has some interesting stuff happen to it, so I'm sure you guys have heard about that, but we'll get into that. Interesting stats for God of War, and then some juicy info about this year's Call of Duty game. So we'll definitely discuss that. And then we'll close the show with the predictions. Before getting to that, though, we're going to touch on what we've been playing. I think, Alex, you've been playing Everybody's Golf VR, so finally I have somebody to gush over. Because I feel bad because, nobody here plays those games except for me. And
I've played Hot Shots Tennis this week.
Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. So then we can kind of have a conversation about it.
That's kind of the same.
Kind of.
It's like, I don't play FIFA, but I play Rocket League, so I can talk on FIFA, right?
That's a really great analogy, yeah. And then we got codes for Team Sonic Racing and then Plague Tale. So you guys have been playing that. I haven't played. I think I played a little bit of Team Sonic Racing last E3, and then I played a little bit of Plague Tale at the Focus Home event a couple months ago. But yeah, you guys can talk on that because I haven't really played any of that.
And of course, we will be reviewing them in a separate little, mini episodes.
Cool. Yeah. So let's jump into some news. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. right, so starting out, this is one that, man, I feel like I'm like more blown away by this than other people are. But man, I've never seen anything like this. That is that the Sonic movie has been delayed. So for those of you who don't know, there was a Sonic movie in production, and they released a trailer with Jim Carrey in it, and the guy from X-Men Cyclops, right? What's his name? Does anybody know?
James Marsden.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I figured you would know that. So thanks.
I got you.
And you pretty much unanimously people hated it, right? And everybody was saying like, why does Sonic have teeth? Why does he look like that?
That was the biggest question, I think, was why does he have teeth?
Yeah, and just pretty much universal backlash, and it was just like everybody coming together to say how much they hated this thing. Well. Shortly after, it was announced that they were going to be changing it, and everybody's like, "Wow, that's kind of unbelievable, cool." But and it was still set to come out, I think, in October or November. Well, just this week, it was announced that it has been delayed, presumably to get the work done on the I guess reanimation or whatever they have to do, remodeling of this character. And I just find that baffling. I don't know. Like, I think that's unbelievable. I've never really seen anything like that. So what did you guys make of that? Was that surprising to you?
I'm happy about it, because that means presumably either no crunch or at least less crunch. You know, that was my first thought, was even if you're not into this movie, like at least you could be happy about, like, I'm glad that they're giving more time. You know, that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't know a whole lot about animation and modeling, but I know a little bit about it. And the idea of still making that November date with having to change all the character, the character model and maybe reanimate everything sounds like a nightmare. It sounds like a disaster. So yeah, I'm glad they have more time.
Something I'd like to bring up actually is like how the actors have to look at specific areas like of the set. So the headlines are kind of accurate with where Sonic's looking at them. So I think like the height's going to be very similar to what we've seen. So I don't think we're going to see much different in terms of that. So you might still look like a really lengthy kind of guy.
You mean the height of Sonic? Sonic's height?
Yeah, the height of Sonic. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
So his legs are still going to be really long, but
Right.
I think there's a lot of things that could be changed with the design, like the gloves, for example. Like those could be added. And they actually teased that with the tweet, but
Right. How much do you think they're actually going to change with this? Like, are they taking literally everybody's suggestion? Probably not. But like, what do you think?
I think the rigging's already done. The skeleton's already done. They're just going to animate the faces a bit.
I hope they give him more teeth.
Yeah, maybe like an alligator.
He's just like a goose.
An alligator. Yeah. Alex, what did you think of this? Do you care about this? I don't. I know you're a big Genesis guy, so.
I do. Yeah. I mean, like, I definitely have thoughts on this, and I'm very vocal against like fan entitlement in a way, when people are just like, I don't like this, and like I've said it before, like, not to just constantly bring Mass Effect up into
Never heard of
but
it.
hashtag Mass Effect 3's ending was fine, but it's that I think that is like the tip, like where that snowball started to roll downhill, when like that happened and everybody's like, I don't like this, and then BioWare acquiesced and they're like, hey, okay, we did this and we like upped the work rate by 7% to do this and have this done and all this stuff to make you happy, and people were still like, it's still not good enough. And it's like, okay, like what's gonna happen with Sonic if he comes out and either has teeth or like doesn't have the gloves, or they don't like the height, or they don't like his shoes or something like that?
Are they gonna go back again? Like,
right, like at what point?
patched
Because
on,
you're not going to please everybody.
No, you're not.
Like, and the other thing is I'm fairly confident. I think I'm the oldest person here, and I think it's safe to guess that Sonic as a character is older than some of you. And it's one of those things where I'm like, Sonic the Hedgehog launched in '91, so
that is older than me.
Yeah.
We're the same age, but I have a normal amount of teeth. So I feel,
but you're also
like I can talk on
not
it,
a blue hedgehog.
Yeah.
It's a situation where, like, at that point, the vocal people that are like, this isn't my Sonic, it's like, the movie probably wasn't made for you.
Yeah.
It's hashtag not my
years ago.
Sonic.
That was like the people that were upset about was it She-Ra? It's like, you guys aren't gonna watch that anyway. Get out of here.
4 fucking years ago, they rolled Sonic out wearing a scarf. No one batted an eye. And then we got
a lot of people are annoyed about that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, people were annoyed, but they were also annoyed about big body Knuckles. And
That's
all
true.
That stuff too, where he was just like all chest, you
Well,
know.
yeah.
But like,
Yeah, but what do you make of them pushing the date back? Do you think that's good, or
I think if you're gonna remodel the character, yeah, you've got to push that date back because there's no way you'd hit November, and if you did, it would be at the expense of this product you're proud of.
yeah,
You know, I think it's an unfortunate reaction. I think it's an unfortunate reactive response. I think at some point, like if who's it, Paramount that's distributing it. If Paramount, I think Paramount should put their foot down and be like, fuck them. Like, who cares? It's like, I just let the movie exist. And now you get those vocal minorities that are shouting, like, it doesn't look right. And they're like, we're going to change it. And they're going to be like, we won. It's like, what? Like, what battle of that was worth fighting?
A point I'd like to make, though, is that it came out exactly like almost the same week as Detective Pikachu, which was a really great video game movie that was like very true to the game series. So I think that might have caused a bit of clash.
Yeah, that's a good point.
film.
Yeah, they might have been like, wow, Pikachu doesn't look like a nightmare.
yeah.
At the same time, though, was the draw to Detective Pikachu the story, or was it we're getting to see how Pokemon would have existed in the real world? You know, there's
I think it's the latter.
That dream come true for so many of us that grew up on those games. Whereas with Sonic, it's like Sonic. First off, you could argue Sonic has never been good, but like
I do argue that, by the way.
ooh, Sonic,
But
Sonic has.
don't at me.
It's true. It's true. Like, I'm a Sega house. Like, I grew up on the Master System.
Well, I think we could
but,
at least all agree that, not even just us, I feel like a lot of people that play games could agree that the story and world and characters were not why they were playing those games for the most
Exactly.
part, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the colors. It's the speed. It's the blast processing.
Yeah.
But like, you look at once Sonic moved from Sega of America, you know, as their distro team, when it's, you know, like Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, you get into Adventure, you get into Adventure 2, Colors, Heroes, Knuckles Chaotix, all that stuff. Like, the series takes a pretty precipitous dip, and it seldom recovers. Like, BioWare struggled to make a good Sonic game.
Jesus.
And, like, it was an RPG, which they are incredible at, especially at that time.
Right.
I mean, that came out in, like, the mid-2000s.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, okay, you are taking a busted franchise and you're applying it to a medium in which video games do not translate well to more often than not. And then you're bitching because it doesn't look good?
Yeah. Like
what?
you can't win.
Why is Gangsters... Can we just redo the trailer without Gangsters Paradise instead of remapping Sonic?
Right.
I think, honestly, though, I think it went beyond like our gaming circle. It kind of became a meme on the internet.
Absolutely.
So
it is a meme. Yeah.
Sure.
I guess they wanted to get away from that negative image. So
Right.
I don't know. That's my counterpoint.
I'm hoping that Sega's playing, like, 16D chess, and this whole thing was a marketing event, and the movie was never going to look like that to begin with, and it was always going to come out.
God.
They wouldn't have delayed it anyway, though.
You and your
if that was the
tin
case.
hat, your tinfoil hat over there. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that. At least they're getting more time. And that.
Are any of us going to go see it?
Sure.
I know Chris and I are going to go
Oh,
see
I
it.
couldn't
Are
care
you
less.
and Joseph
Hell
gonna go see
yeah,
it?
I'm
No,
gonna
I
go see
don't
Okay.
care. No, I don't care.
It's going to be a weird Valentine's Day date, by the way.
Yeah.
Like anybody's having sex that night, honestly. Anybody
They are,
gotta
they
go
gotta
fast. Gotta go fast.
Okay, so let's move on. This one, okay, yeah, this is a story that, man, it kind of bums me out a little bit. Video gaming disorder has been declared as a disease according to the World Health Organization. And I've got an article pulled here from Polygon, and this is from Owen S. Good. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I just wanted to get sort of the opening section here. Quote, the World Health Organization today adopted a revision to the International Statistical Classification of Diseases and Related Health Problems, ICD-11, and that includes, for the first time, gaming disorder, which is considered an addictive behavior disorder. Quote, gaming disorder is listed after, quote, gambling disorder in ICD-11 and uses that disorder's language almost word for word, replacing, quote, gambling with, quote, gaming. Gambling disorder was formerly, quote, pathological gambling in ICD-10, which the WHO, we're just going to refer to it as WHO, the World Health Organization, ratified in 1990. The text of ICD-11 was finalized a year ago. Today's action at the 72nd World Health Assembly was its final adopting. The revision takes effect January 1 of 2022. So that's basically the sort of gist of it. So to me, this is just a bunch of old people who don't really understand, who just don't get it. I think, I don't know. I haven't really like come to terms with it 100%, but just upon my initial reaction of just, oh my God, these guys totally don't understand. Do you guys have any thoughts on this story here?
I think it's a spectrum that we aren't aware of. I think, yes, it is an addiction for some people. And, you know, I remember there was a guy I had known since about third grade, and around like high school and then like into like my college years, he got real hard into drugs and stuff like that. And I remember one day when I was working at GameStop, he came in and bought like 2 or 3 60-day subscriptions to WoW. And I was like, oh, are you doing this? And like, he looked at me and he goes, it's better than crack.
Oh, shit.
And I'm just like, huh,
Whoa.
Is that what you were into? He goes, yeah, this is keeping me off that.
Oh my
And
God.
so I think in a way it supplants an addiction, but like those addictive qualities are there. Like we've all played games with a super satisfying loop, and you look at something like WoW, you look at something like Overwatch, Dota, League of Legends, anything like that where, you know, there are people who have those obsessive minds and like those addictive personalities, and they get their hooks in them, and like it's no different than like something like gambling, something like a slot machine. You know, that's where like the loot box.
Is it a disease though? That's the thing that gets me. The disease.
Addiction. If it is classifiably an addiction, then it is classifiably a disease.
Wow.
And I think for people like us who sit there and like, yeah, I play video games 12 hours. You know, I played them for 12 hours on Saturday, but I didn't play them again until Tuesday. Like, just because you played them in a 12-hour sit, like I beat God of War basically in one sitting, like for all intents and purposes. That doesn't mean I was addicted to the game, because I didn't go and like snort a line and then go like try to get through Detroit or something like that. You know, like it wasn't just boom, boom,
it
boom,
would be
boom,
an
boom.
addiction where if it would be an addiction if you couldn't stop, or if it was affecting the rest of your life. Whereas you were like, I'm going to do this, but you're planning on it. You didn't let the rest of your life fall into disarray because of it.
Right. It's not affecting me outside of just like that one like isolated circumstance.
I think with me, just the word addiction has like a negative connotation, obviously, and gaming is so positive to me that it's really hard for me to reconcile with the two, and I don't know. I guess I would have to look at like the statistics of people who actually are addicted, quote unquote, to it. Like, because, like, for example, let's just say there are only like 5 people in the world who do that. I know that's not true, but just for the sake of the example, there are only 5 people.
Sure.
Do we still categorize gaming as gaming addiction as a disease, even though only 5 people are affected by it?
I think it determines, or it's you know.
For me, I think it's that they happen to be games and not because of games.
Huh.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's that games are something people can be addicted to, but they're not addicted to it because it's a game.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know, I think it's one of those, like, not all people that play video games are addicted to games. The people that are susceptible to addiction can be addicted to games. Obviously not Destiny, because you'll eventually get angry and turn it off. But, you know,
right.
It's the all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares.
Yeah. What about you, Chris? What do you think of this?
I actually agree with Alex. I think gaming can really strain relationships, you know, if they're spending too much time on WoW or Phantasy Star Online or things like that, like online focused, community based, you can really get obsessed with that kind of stuff. So, I think this is kind of like an addiction to some people. So, I think the World Health Organization is kind of correct in this stance. So, yeah.
I like that example you gave too, Alex, about the playing God of War in one setting, because like I've had people that I took work off when Mass Effect 3 came out, and I played that game in 2 sittings. I played for like 20 hours, went to sleep, woke up, played for 20 hours, and like I've had people that were like, wow, you know, and they act like it's an addiction, when really it's like, well, no, I just set that time aside to focus on something.
It's no different
I don't
than
usually do
binging
that.
The Office.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you addicted to The Office? Yeah.
Right. It's like, I am when I keep pressing yes, I'm still here, Netflix, shut up. But like,
Which, by the way,
it's not
yeah,
affecting
it's
my
the thing.
life negatively, though.
Which, by the way, shout out to
Right.
Hulu for not doing that. I kind of like that Hulu doesn't do that. Anyway,
Yeah.
Like my wife, like kick off the new year, she's like, I want to watch all of Grey's Anatomy, and that's like 300 hours of television. And
Is she
did
okay?
she do it? Yeah, no, she's fine. But like, it's the thing. I never sat there and was like, I think you have a Grey's Anatomy addiction. It's like, no, like what? Sometimes there's just nothing else better to do.
yeah. Okay, you guys have been
Because one of those things is controlled enjoyment. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have
Yeah.
made compelling arguments, and I think I just need to think about it more. But yeah, my initial thought was just, this is weird. Like, yeah.
It's a negative connotation. It's a negative stigma. It's negative words, and it's like that uphill battle that we as fans of gaming have been fighting. Like, no, it's
Yeah,
not
that's a good
addiction.
point.
No, we're not a bunch of pimply sweat bags that are just like pooping into buckets and then dumping them out the window like Vikings.
Or Cartman.
It's that thing where, yeah, there is a dark, dank, rusty, moldy corner of the world, and not trying to attach that to people with addiction. You're suffering, and I'm sorry, but like there is a facet of this industry that we are not aware of because we are fortunate enough to not have to suffer from it.
Mm-hmm.
And for the people that do, yeah, it needs to be classifiable because then they can get help.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's you don't want to paint a broad brush with addiction.
That's a good point, because we have been fighting that stigma for a long time. But at the same time, though, there's a difference between us being like, Mom, this isn't going to kill me, stop. And then there's a difference between, that and somebody that actually is suffering from, an addiction. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that you made that distinction.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just thought that was an interesting story to touch on, and I really wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it, because my initial thought was just, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know. So,
Sure.
yeah. Cool. Next up, this is kind of interesting. So, there's a new handheld console coming out, and it's called the Playdate, and it's coming next year. And it is made by, who is the studio? Panic, I think is what they're called.
Yeah, it's the publishers behind Firewatch and
Yep,
Untitled Goose Game.
And so this is really interesting. It looks kind of like a Game Boy, right? And it's in black and white, and it's got a 2.7-inch screen and a little crank on the side. And it will eventually have, I think, like 12 games or so. And they're going to come out, I think, like periodically,
Once a week after
Yep.
launch.
And I think that's really fascinating. Now, one thing that I sort of have a problem with is just the price of it. At $150, I don't know, man. That seems kind of
Ooh.
of like a lot. But yeah, a lot of people were complaining, as they do, about this little device here. Now, what I am still curious about are like what games are going to be on it. I don't know, Alex. Did you look into this one? Did you see what kind of games are going to be on this thing?
So they haven't said what type of games, but there's games coming from Bennett Foddy, who made Quap and Getting Over It, and then Kieta Takahashi, who I know the name, but I don't know what. Katamari, the developer of
Katamari,
Katamari.
yeah.
Yeah. And then the website also lists Zach Gage and Sean Inman, who I'm not as familiar with.
Zach Gage
but,
did Spell Tower, and Sean Inman,
Okay.
The Last Rocket. So, there's
Okay.
that.
So with like Katamari, Quap, and things like that, it's like you. I love everything about it. I think this is kitschy as hell. I think this is the most Alex Derickson-ass thing that could possibly exist in 2020. But like that price tag, though.
What would you pay for this then? What do you think would be more reasonable? 100, maybe?
Oh God, yeah, I would say if it was 100, I'd be like maybe. If it was 80, I would just like throw the money at the laptop. But like. The thing is yeah, the extra games don't cost anything. They're released weekly. The thing about this, and where I think this is going to succeed, is it's kitschy, and I think it's going to have a limited inventory.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be like collector's items.
I see it as a thing for the people that pay the $150 now, come like 2022, 2025, whatever, could maybe, pocket a good set of change off of this.
Maybe even mod it, too.
That's what this screams.
That's the other thing.
Yeah,
That's
possibly.
the other thing.
But it's a black and white screen.
Yeah, I wonder how. Like, my thought was like, okay, yeah, maybe they mod it, but like, what could they put on here? Like, what can that?
Minute,
Yeah,
Gato Roboto.
yeah. Like, I'm just thinking, like, what can this what can
Undertale?
this device process? What can it hold?
Or even the other
Right.
way around, where like this is modified, used as a controller, for a different system.
Oh my God, how would that work?
Just playing God of War with
Like
the crank.
Yeah. Dude, so I am just now looking at the crank like in detail, and man, that thing, it's like it looks
slick.
cool. Yeah, like in my head, like when people were talking about it, I was like, oh, I was thinking like a Fisher Price, like like a piece of plastic, right? So
No, this thing looks like it's a really strong, sturdy piece of tech. And like as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I saw the crank, and I'm like, oh god, I have to have it.
yeah, so that'll be out next year, and yeah, I don't know. I think maybe if it's successful, we might see either more games or maybe another iteration of it, something like that. I think would
Give
be
it like
cool.
2 years, and Alex might be using this as a phone.
Oh shit!
He'll find a way to like modify it and be like, "Yeah, this is my cell phone."
How old do you think I am? Am I also winding up my Yaris to go
No,
out?
no, I just mean because you like it so much, you might be like, "I want to use this in other parts of my life."
All right.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, I don't have that technical tech prowess. I'd just be like, look, babe, it's a crank game. And she'd be like, how much did you pay for that? I'm like, I'm not going to tell you.
You run away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just throw it at her. It's sturdy.
All right, so a couple more stories here, and then we'll get into what we've been playing and our E3 predictions. So I just wanted to touch on that God of War surpassed 10 million units sold, or shipped, I guess is what it was. So I think that's amazing. You know, Alex, I know you always bring up on your show about how people always say single player games are dead and all this stuff, and this is clear evidence that it's not, you know, that they're not.
Best modern game in history.
Yeah. And I know this resonated with you particularly because, I mean, you had your son, and it's and I think same with Cory Barlog, right, with his kid. And it's a game that you can connect to, given your circumstances. With me, I don't have children, so I didn't have that same connection, but that doesn't make it any less of an amazing game to me, you know?
The lessons are still
Right.
there.
Yeah, exactly. So, and have we...
Well, Joseph, you are a cat daddy, though.
That's true, actually, yeah. I can sort of like...
Joseph just looks at his cat and he's like, you have to be better than me, son.
Your
Yeah.
cat's just like, no, I refuse.
Cat just shits on the floor.
Yeah, so...
Brings Joseph a dead bird.
So I have an article put here from GameSpot, and it says sales. It keeps saying that it's sold 10 more, but you know, I always see sold and shipped interchangeable. That people use them
I
interchangeably.
don't think they're that far away from each other.
Yeah, so it's always hard because a lot of people sometimes don't know the difference, and they just like put sold when they mean shipped. So according to this GameSpot article, it says sold more than 10 million units. So that means games in homes, as opposed to games on shelves and retailers. So we'll just call it sold then. So yeah, but congratulations to Santa Monica. If you haven't seen the documentary Raising Kratos, you need to do that because it is very important. Chris, I know you watched it. I think before I did, and you recommended it. Yeah, and I was so glad I was so glad I had your blessing from it because it was really, really awesome. I watched it at work, and I'm just like, man, this is fucking rad to see like these people going through these like trying times during the development of this game that you probably wouldn't have even recognized otherwise. And there was a moment, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a moment where there are these two women that helped make the game, and they were talking about like issues that they've been having and like issues maybe with their family, that kind of thing. And one of them like didn't want to answer it because she was so upset about it. And man, that like really, really got me. You'll know it when you get to that part. That God, it was like gut wrenching.
I just wanted to quickly plug the Last of Us documentary, Grounded, too. It's on PlayStation's YouTube channel. It's also another really good, documentary from a first party.
Is it sort of the same setup where like it's like really?
I haven't watched Raising Kratos yet. I am wanting to. But
oh my God, you need to.
It's footage from like, hey, we're making this game, and they touch on stuff, and they just. I don't remember how much. Actually, let me back up. I don't remember how much of it was when they were making it, but I mean, it's got like Neil and people on there, Neil Druckmann and whatnot, talking about it, and it's really informative. And I don't remember if they made this when they were PS3 version or if it was there in the remaster. But either way, it's a really good kind of peek into the development and whatnot. One part I know did cover when they were putting it in PS4 actually, so I think that might have been made later. But it was really, really cool.
Right.
And I'd also recommend watching it.
Something else I'll say about Raising Kratos is that it's a generally good film. It has a great structure to it. It has characters. It has drama to it, and it's an engaging watch. So, like, that's your homework for this week, guys. Watch that
absolutely.
documentary.
I love how it just like goes in order of the development of the game. So like at the end of like the moment when they showed themselves showing off the trailer at E3, you know, that epic famous trailer with the live orchestra there and everything. Dude, like I was seriously in tears because of how amazing that was, and like I know how excited the team was to show that off.
They should like put this kind of stuff with like collector's editions or like a deluxe version, because like there's a lot of us out there that would pay an extra.
They need to put that on
10,
the
$20
disc,
that come with stuff like this. You know, this is interesting to a lot of people.
Yeah, Alex, did you have something to say? I thought it sounded like you.
I was going to say the one thing I loved about it is, this is something that's on PlayStation's YouTube channel. It's something that's, PlayStation produced and manufactured and edited and distributed. And we talked, off camera earlier about some PlayStation stuff and how, like, they can be a little sterile with their approach. And I think this one, it's, it's sterilized to an extent. But at the same time, though, it's not afraid to sit there and be like, hey, look, here's where it got shitty. Here's where people didn't like Corey. Here's where there's dissension within the team. Here's the stuff Santa Monica did leading into it that was also problematic. Like, here's that game getting canceled. Here's all this other stuff. And you're just like, and the one spot that I've not stopped thinking about was Corey is showing a demo to somebody, and he's pointing to a technical flaw in the game, and he goes, we should not be at this stage of development.
It was like the tree.
That still
the tree,
be
the floating
it's
tree.
The log.
Yeah.
The log just
a log. Yeah.
and then it just cuts to the dragon falling through the earth, and I'm just he's like, we're not going to get this done. This shouldn't happen. And it's one of those things that like I talk so much about how I think God of War is beginning to end literally perfect, and to see where they were that close to like going gold, you're just like, how does this game exist?
Crunch. That's how it exists.
Yes. Yeah, but like their ability to work through like literal game-breaking problems to be
so
like, hey,
close
no,
to
this
the
is
end
the
of
date.
Yeah. It's
it just goes to show how much of an impact even a month delay can give to a game. So yeah, I just think it's amazing, and please go watch that documentary. It's awesome.
And give us more of these, because I love stuff like this. It's great.
100%.
Exactly. Cool. So last piece of news before we get into what we've been playing. Man, this was another one that had a lot of controversy. So reportedly, now this hasn't been confirmed by Activision, but sources like Jason Schreier and other reputable people have confirmed that this year's Call of Duty is just going to be called Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And it's supposed to be a, quote, soft reboot or soft relaunching of the series or something like that, sort of almost akin to what World War II was with their marketing of like boots on the ground and all this stuff, like bringing the series back sort of thing. And I'm kind of like a longtime Call of Duty fan, so like to me this is it is appealing, but also given the troubled launch of next year's game and like sort of, I don't know, like it just seems to me like it's almost impossible to please everybody when you're on a yearly development cycle, So if this year's Call of Duty is just called Modern Warfare, I'm curious to see what that looks like.
I thought they got 2 years though, because there's 2 teams, right?
Well, there were 3.
Well, there were three,
and then
there were 3. Okay.
And next year's Call of Duty game is in a little bit of trouble because
I remember we talked about
Raven
that,
and Sledgehammer Raven and Sledgehammer were working on it, and then I guess I don't know what happened, but they had to
Treyarch's getting
Treyarch had to jump in and fix it. I don't really know, and I'm so curious to know what's going on with that.
From what I read, it was Raven and Sledgehammer were making a Cold War style campaign, and then Activision basically was like, okay, close down what you're doing, pick it up. You're going to work with Treyarch. Your guys are going to be on a 2-year dev cycle.
Black
now.
Ops
We're
5.
going to do Black Ops 5.
Wow.
Your campaign is going to get moved into this, and you're all working together now. But now Treyarch has 1 less year to get a whole game done.
And those games are notorious for crunch as well. And so that just kind of like, it gets me a lot. Like it really hits me to know that they do crunch anyway, and now they have 1 less year to work on it. Great.
I am happy to see that Activision finally seems to be kind of, as directly as we're going to see, acknowledging that we already have Halo, we already have Titanfall, make Call of Duty, stop trying to do that. Like we don't want to go to space, we've already got that stuff going on over here.
Right.
Like get back more into that Call of Duty feeling that we all really like,
And
do we really have Titanfall?
Yeah,
though?
that's a good. I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like if there's a series, EA's just like fucking throw it out to die.
And
We gotta make one.
And Chris, I know you're a Call of Duty fan as well. What do you make of this year's being possibly a soft reboot of the Modern Warfare series and just being called Modern Warfare?
Yeah, like, it's kind of cool that it's going back to its roots. You know, a lot of fans have been asking for that. You know, like boots on the ground, kind of like traditional kind of weapons, things like that. But I just don't. The thing is, for me, I don't know how Activision can keep going forward with this series because it's treading very similar ground with every entry now. It's been going on yearly for like 12 years, something like that. 11 years,
15 years. Yeah.
50, oh my god. Okay. But I just don't know how they can keep it fresh with this new take on Modern Warfare.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that it would, and Alex, I know you touched on this on the last episode of PlayStation Forecast, do you think it would benefit them to take a year off, Chris?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I definitely think they should take a year off, try to decide where to take the series next. Maybe work on a new IP, I don't know, but probably not, because this is Activision we're talking about, right? So
yeah.
Right.
Exactly. It's just tough because it's like a money printing machine, and even if the games aren't great, it's like what motivation?
It's still a highest selling game every year. So
yeah. Black Ops 4, I think, according to Matt Piscatella's most recent NPD, Black Ops 4 is still 12-month rotating. So from May of 2018 to May of 2019, Black Ops 4 is still the number 1 or number 2 best-selling game.
It is a damn good game, though.
Months.
Like, I got that the month it came out, and it's so much fun every time I boot it up.
Oh, yeah.
I wish there was a campaign, because I really like the Black Ops campaigns, but it's still a really solid game.
And I'm not denying that they're fun. It's very clear that the series needs a refresh. So maybe this will be it this year.
And I think like you know, I talked about it on my show too and everything, where like Ubisoft taking a year off from Assassin's Creed didn't hurt Assassin's Creed.
And now look how good those games are.
It didn't hurt Ubisoft. Now the issue with that is Ubisoft has Rainbow Six Siege, The Division, they have Ghost Recon, they had South Park, they had, you know, Far Cry. They have these like bangers after banger after banger after banger after banger. Whereas Activision's like, we've got Destiny, we've got Call of Duty, and we got other stuff you probably can't think of, or that's just me.
Like Blizzard stuff, maybe, right?
Yeah, Overwatch and Activision.
Yeah, but I see they don't have another game that's equally or close to as big as Call of Duty. Whereas Ubisoft's got a lot of pillars supporting it.
Yeah, Ubisoft has all those buttresses kind of holding them up, whereas Activision is just like, hey, we've got like some stuff. And if like Destiny 2 is underperforming in Activision's eyes, when, you know, Call of Duty when Blackout isn't being able to maintain a concurrent player base once Apex
Legends,
there's
more pressure to succeed, exceedingly so.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna find out for sure what this year's Call of Duty is shortly, like probably within the next week or so, maybe 2 weeks, because typically that's when they announce the next, you know, that year's game is like end of May kind of deal. So maybe even by the time this goes live, we'll know what that is. So that closes out the news. Let's take a little break, and then we'll come back and then talk about what we've been playing, and then we'll jump into our E3 predictions. Okay, everybody, and we are back. So let's talk a little bit about what we've been playing. Let's throw it to Chris. I want to hear your thoughts, because you just completed one of my favorite games of all time, and I really, really want to hear what you thought of the ending. So, Chris, what have you been playing?
So I finished The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
2 years later, but that's fine. I forgive you.
I've finally got access to a Switch this year, so I've been able to catch up with a few things like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and things like that. But Breath of the Wild is a complete masterpiece. Just how you explore the world, and it's kind of a puzzle to figure out how to get from one place to another. The storylines of like the champions coming together, and fighting Ganon at the last part. The music is phenomenal. You know, there's swooping kind of scores here and there.
Oh god,
and
yeah.
Just I love how it rewards you, rewards the preparation you make to fight Ganon as well. Because I thought the final boss was pretty easy, actually. But that's because I had the Master Sword. I had all 4 of the champions helping me, you know? So
did you beat him on your first try?
I think it was like the second try, maybe. Huh. Yeah, it might have been the first try, actually.
I remember struggling with them pretty badly, so that's interesting to hear that you didn't have that hard of a time with it. Yeah, man, what a freaking game. I know, Alex, I know you don't play, you don't have a Switch or anything, so this may not be as interesting to you, but man, Zelda, I mean, what more can you say about it, that it's just like so freaking good? It's a game that kind of reminds me almost of like my childhood. Like, back when you're a kid, you only have like 2 games to play because that's all, you don't have any money or whatever. And you just play the shit out of these games. And that was one of the games where I remember just diving into completely and only wanting to do that, only thinking about that game. And it's just, there's so much to do and it's so rich. And oh man, just you talking about it, Chris, makes me want to jump back into it because it's so good.
You should. And I haven't even got all the memories yet from Zelda, so basically if you get all the memories, I think you get a different ending from what I thought I was playing.
Remind everybody what the memories are. Those are the pictures you take, right?
Yeah, so you were given a bunch of landmarks to find and take pictures of. Mm-hmm. And when you take a picture, Link remembers part of his memory from his time with Zelda. So it's kind of cool to get to know Zelda as you're doing these segments. I didn't do too many, unfortunately, so I'm going to go back and redo them and complete the game again. So
cool.
Yeah.
So what else have you been playing?
So I just finished Castlevania for the first time.
The first one.
The first one. Because I got a review code for Castlevania Collection. I've been writing a review for Rapid Reviews UK. And it's incredibly tough. Super tough. Like, there's flying enemies coming at you from all directions. And you gotta find the pattern to like each of the enemies' kind of like attacks. Mm-hmm. So that was incredibly challenging. If I didn't have save states, I don't think I would have got through it.
Yeah, man. Like, it makes you wonder how anybody got through any of those games back then without save states.
Oh yeah,
Crunch.
What? Yeah,
and Dracula's probably the toughest final boss I've ever faced. He is ridiculous.
So
absolutely,
you can
ridiculous.
also experience it differently. The naming is ridiculously stupid, but Super Castlevania 4 is just Castlevania 1.
Oh, really?
Remade, kind of like Zero Mission. Yeah, the name is. They should have just called it Super Castlevania, but they call it 4. But yeah, it's just a remake of the first Castlevania.
I didn't know that.
So when you get around to that, it's kind of a fun little way to experience it differently. Yeah.
So since you were just like save scumming the whole thing, how did you do it with the last boss? Did you just like hit him once and then save, and then if you got hit, just reload your save? Oh, okay.
No,
that's how I would have done it.
I gave it a valiant effort.
I've done that before. Yeah.
I've definitely given it a valiant effort. I was able to finish the first boss without saving the first part of the boss. And then I just saved in segments, so not every time I got a hit on him, but like every 3 or 4 hits. And it's still super challenging. So
yeah,
I don't think I cheated.
I don't blame you. I think those games are ridiculously hard, so I would have done the same thing. Cool.
Dark
what else
Souls,
have you been playing?
Eat your heart out.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a review code for Team Sonic Racing. We'll be diving more into it.
Which is fucking amazing, by the way. That's so awesome. Like, thank you so much, Sega. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody from
Sega
Sega
was really cool.
But thanks you so
Evan.
much.
Yeah. But yeah, Team Sonic Racing has been pretty fun. It's a pretty fun game. Some of the power-ups were a bit annoying, like the stones that go right in your way and like immediately, so it's hard to like really move out of the way from them. So there's something like stuff like that comes up. The power-ups aren't that interesting. They're very generic. Like, you've seen them in Mario Kart before,
right?
And there's not much that it does to make it different. But at the same time, Team Sonic Racing has this interesting mechanic where you're working as a team. So you have like a party of 3, right, that you can work together with. And the leader is the one that has a slipstream that follows behind them. And like, if you follow the slipstream, you can actually slingshot your way above.
Shake and bake.
Yeah, forward. So like you can actually get a nice little boost from that.
And that's a really cool mechanic too.
Yeah, and you can share different items and things like that too. Item boxes. So if someone else behind you is having trouble, you could just give it to them, and they can get ahead in the pack.
Right. Mm-hmm. And Josh, you've been playing this a little too, right?
Yeah. I was playing it a little bit because the way we're gonna do our reviews, it'll be the person reviewing it, and then at least one of us, more of us, but maybe all three of us too, if time permits. But I wanted to be able to play it a little bit, so that way I could kind of discuss it with Chris since he's reviewing it for us. But so I've been playing a little bit of it too. Not a ton so far, but so far Chris's take on it is in line with what I think so far.
Yeah. Now, one thing I wanted to ask too. One of the things I liked about those games, like with the earlier iterations, I seem to remember that there were like boss battles in one of them.
There's no boss battles. Yeah, there's no boss battles so far in what I've played. I'm like probably 80% through the story mode, and there's not much of a story to be honest. But what do you expect from a kart racing game? But
hey, Crash Team Racing story was awesome.
Isn't there a story in Diddy Kong?
Okay, you got me. Yeah. But I wasn't expecting much of a story from this, and it's nice
that's
and
fair.
charming.
It doesn't have to have a good
it's
story.
nice for the kids and all that, so I think it does a good enough job with that.
The only thing that stuck out to me negatively for the story was it's not like a world. It's not a hub world like Crash.
It's like Mario.
It's like Mario 3 where it's a board game, which is it's fine. I mean, not a board game, but a board.
Right.
That's fine. I just like driving around the world and Crash Team Racing, but that's fine.
Cool. And Chris, what else have you been playing?
I played a bit of Hot Shots Tennis randomly on the PS2.
What's funny is I'm such a big Hot Shots and everybody's golf fan. I've never actually played the tennis version, so
wow.
I might have to look into that. Any good? What do you think?
So I tried the 7-day trial for PlayStation Now. So you can download it straight to your PS4, right? So I decided, hey, I'll just give it a go.
So is it a PS2 for PS4 game? Like, in
Yes.
other words, like,
Yes.
does it have its own trophy list and everything?
Yeah, it does. It has its own trophy list.
Does it have a platinum?
I don't think it does. Sorry.
We'll have to get here. I'm on the case. Here, keep going.
Get Shirega on the phone.
Keep going. I'm on the case. Here we go. All right.
But Hot Shots Tennis is a really good tennis game, I think. It's got a lot of personality to it. It's pretty charming. You can unlock characters as you go through the campaign, and different not tracks, what was it? Kind of like courts.
Yeah.
And umpires. So there's a lot to unlock. And there's doubles as well, so it's not just singles gameplay. You could also play as a team. So you could so you could play like matches with a mate, like by the side of you,
and like locally.
Yeah,
like
locally. Yeah. But you could also do share play and do it that way too.
And I can confirm no platinum. God,
no platinum.
Damn it, God, Alex,
Get him,
they made
Joseph,
the
get
list. They're on the list, dude.
But
it's a port of a PS2 game or PS3 game, man. They don't make
I don't care, man.
That's wrong of you to expect.
I don't care, man. Really chapped.
The Jack games have a platinum, so I don't see why this couldn't. But
yeah,
no, I've got a game to add to the list. We'll get there.
well then, let's just do that now. Let's throw it over to you, Alex. What have you been playing?
So I start the one I can speak really like in tune with is Observation, which just came out from No Code and Devolver. So Observation, the team at No Code, it's a very small team. Their last game was Stories Untold, which was an episodic horror game. The director at No Code is one of the artists behind Alien Isolation. So picking up something like Observation, which is I don't want to call it a horror game because I think that's misspeaking. It's more of an atmospheric puzzle thriller.
Weird.
So
that sounds cool to me.
It's awesome. So there's a lot of things. I could go on for a lot about this. I'm about halfway through it. It's from what I've read about 5.5 to 7 hours. I've put in probably 3.5. It takes place in space on this space station. You play as the ship's AI named Sam, Systems Administration and Maintenance. And you basically see the game through Sam, who takes control of like the ship's cameras, the ship's controls, and things like that. There's like a lot of puzzle elements. When I streamed it last week, someone in the chat was like, "Oh, this looks like Sci-Fi: The Witness." I've never played The Witness, so I don't know.
Oh my god, Alex!
I was just
you
like,
need to play The Witness.
I was just kind of like, sure. But there's elements to it. Like I looked up Witness puzzles, and I could see where she was kind of drawing those analogs from. Holy shit, this fucking game, y'all! Like, I love it. I love the moment-to-moment elements of the story. It's super atmospheric. It's super tense. Like you feel that anxiousness, and in a way, it kind of plays as a negative for me. But you're someone on the ship basically wakes up and it's just kind of like, yo, what the hell's going on? And then everything kind of reboots. There's a really cool, like the first like half hour is basically a cold open before you get to the credits. And there's a twist there that's like, holy shit. Now, I want to say this, it does not have a platinum, but also if you plan on playing it, don't look up the trophies.
Why? Because they're spoilery?
Yes, the night is dark and full of spoilers.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
so I love this game. There's just this like foreboding sense of dread every step of the way where you're just like constantly waiting for something to happen and you're watching this mystery just untether and unravel.
You're selling me on this. I really like that slow burn horror,
bucks.
you know?
It's $24.99.
Oh, okay.
And it's so cool and eerie and dreadful, and like the twists though that keep coming, it's nothing, there's no like jump scares, there's nothing like hooga booga yet or anything like that, right? It's just kind of like it is
uncomfortable, tense.
Yeah. And one of the cool things I love about it, before I get into the negatives, the sense of dread is only amplified by the fact that there is really, I don't want to say there's no score and no soundtrack because I can't confidently say it, but what I can confidently say is there's no score that plays a vital role into anything. Almost all the sounds you hear are entirely diegetic. They're entirely within the space station. So it's these clangs and bangs and these weird like echoey, like cacophonous, like, you know, sounds here and there.
That is creepy. I feel like it's more immersive almost.
Reminds me of Dead Space, yeah. I mean, Dead Space had music, but I mean, Dead Space had that.
Yeah. So like the issues I have with it stem from the fact that I think there was like within development this idea that you don't want to break that immersion and don't want to break that dread, because you feel so alone in this game. And there's moments where you have to, as Sam, step outside the space station. So you're literally floating in space.
Oh my god,
and
like gravity.
It's just, it's this, there's a lot of, it's somewhere between Alien, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Moon, and Gravity is where in terms of like where it falls in like a sci-fi pantheon.
I love Moon so much.
Oh my god, Moon's so good.
Yeah.
But the issue I have with this is you're stepping out into fucking space and there's no objective marker.
No.
And like everything is gorgeous, but you're also floating in space.
And there's a lot of space out there.
There's a ton of space, but like I'm trying not to get into like the big turn where like you're just like, oh, also this.
Yeah,
but,
no spoilers, please.
No. So like when you're floating around and looking at the space station, the lighting and the shadows and shit like that, oh my fucking god, it looks so good. But like it looks so samey at the same time. So it's really easy to get turned around, really easy to kind of like float out and be like, okay, where am I supposed to go? And then if you switch to like the scan mode, there's no marker, there's no real tell to be like, hey, go here. And if you try to like, there's no hints either. There's like your objective checks, but then if you're like, hey, repeat that command, it's just like, Sam, I told you to go here. And it's like, well, where the fuck is that? And so you're like floating around like the exterior of this massive space station, and then like some of the objectives are unclear, where it's like, hey, find that damage you saw outside. And it's like, whoa, the whole ship's damaged. Like, what are you looking for specifically? And then I'll come up on something, I'm like, that looks like a burn mark. Is that damage? And you scoot up, you're like, oh, nope, that was just a black box. That's just a panel.
My question for you is, does that ruin the atmosphere of the game? Does that really take you out of it?
Yeah. Yeah, and if there were like those ticks or those checks or like a crazy taxi arrow, like you're just kind of like, okay, cool, I can understand why it's not there.
Yeah.
But there's a happy medium somewhere where it's either truncating the space to be like, the ship's not as big, or it's like, at least like, let me turn on some sort of assist mode. So it's just like, blip, it go here.
Or have a radar
I'll
or
switch
something.
to scan mode.
Yeah.
What's that?
Have a radar or something.
Well, and so when you're within the system or within the actual like station, there's a map, and you can hop point to point and take over the various cameras. But when you go outside the ship, it's fucking nothing.
Because it's space.
Like, it is just flat. It's just like, map not found, and you're like, excellent. But the issue I have is I'll switch into scan mode, and there is like this like area that's just like blinking, like pulsating red, like, hey, come here, hey, come here, hey. I'm like, that must be where I need to go, and I go over, and it's like, no match. And it's like, what do you mean no match? Why are you blinking? So it's where I'm like, okay, is that going to be something I need later? Like, is there something here that I need to know about eventually? Like, but why is it blinking now, and why is the stuff I need not blinking? And I tweeted about it earlier today, where I was just like, I'm playing something, I love it, and I want to push that story forward, but there's aspects of the game where I have no interest in doing this. And it's whenever I'm outside the space station, I'm just like, are we fucking doing this again? Because like, I'm going to get like, I lost probably 25, 30 minutes the first time outside, and probably another 10, 15, trying to like just navigate the whole thing, to where I just pulled up a guide of someone that did it. I'm like, oh, okay, I need to just go into that thing. Cool. Got it. But I cannot like, Observation right now is, if nothing else, my indie game of the year, but it is a front runner for game of the year for me.
Wow. Even
Oh, interesting. And that's especially interesting since you do have complaints too, which means it's great in spite of that, which is cool.
Yeah. It's once you get back in the ship, you're just back into like that riveting, compelling, like engrossing tale of like, why are we here? What happened? Like, you get the first like 30 minutes just like, oh my god, it's such a good twist.
I'm with you on your complaints though too, because for me that's my biggest, like, that's the biggest cardinal sin a game can make for me, is when I'm completely pulled out of a game because I'm just fucking lost.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like, in my opinion, if I'm lost, I mean, there could be a one-off where it's my fault, but overall, if I'm lost, that's your fault. That's bad design.
Like,
I should be able to figure out where to go without just walking around and, is this where I go? Is this where
Yeah, it's one thing if I get lost and it's just me being an idiot. It's another where it's just like, why does all of this look the goddamn same?
I'm looking at you, library in Halo. That level, oh my god.
But
yeah, I'm with you, man.
I am in love with Observation. The other thing I played was
Everybody's Golf VR.
Which,
fuck yeah.
Yes, I've done probably 14 holes, and I think my caddy wants to sleep with me.
She absolutely. No, wait, hold
back
on.
of the box
She wants to
quote
sleep
right there.
with me, Alex. What are you talking about?
She wants to sleep with everybody's Golf
there it is.
VR, Joseph. But it's funny how quick I can put on that headset and forget I'm playing a game.
Dude, yes.
Because
What?
my dumbass stood at that tutorial driving range trying to hold the Move controller with two hands like it's a damn golf club. And I'm like, this sucks. And then I was like, what if I just one-hand it like a normal person? And then I'm just like fucking swinging straight 200-yard drives. Now the issue is I take this to the 3-hole courses, and I can't stop double bogeying. Like, I'm just a fucking like one-eyed, one-legged, one-armed pirate trying to play golf, right?
Is your tell me about
golf.
your swing, because for whatever reason it seems like my swing is way too far to the right. Maybe it's the way I'm standing in relation to where the ball is. I don't know, but are you having issues with that?
Mine directionally is straight, but it always kind of like veers left. Where like I watch the arrow and I'm like, nailed it, and then I look and the caddy's like, nice shot, it's in the rough. And it's like, okay, those two things are not mutually exclusive. Like they both need to exist. So I'm still trying to like figure that out. But I played that for like an hour and a half before I kind of like got the mechanics of it down and understood that I was being an idiot. Now, what I love about this game is I am bad at it, and my caddy has no problem.
Oh my god,
me.
yeah.
I've double bogeyed every single hole except for like one, and every time you get it, she's just like, you go to putt and she's like, come on, make it count. And then you miss and she's just like, and then I finally get it in and it comes up like double bogey, and she literally stands there completely expressionless and just goes, you got there.
Yeah, basically like you finally did it. idiot. Like, what are you doing?
And she's like, great. Clearly, you're stupid. Like, oh my god,
This is great.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah,
you guys should do everybody's golf
Everybody's
podcast
golf
together
cast.
too.
it's
Yeah.
well, and it's one of those things where like you're like interacting with this world, and I don't know. I might be showing my age here. Is anybody fans of Mr. Bean? Rowan
Yeah,
Atkinson's
he's
like
sometimes
physical
fine,
comedy.
yeah.
Yeah. So the game, for some reason, I just found myself like Mr. Beaning about the world, where I'm just like playing with stuff that isn't interactive, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like the receptionist is just like, "What would you like to do?" And I'm just like, I don't know.
Like you're like talking to her.
I'm a
You're
guest
talking
here.
to her. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm just like non-verbally like nodding my head at this woman. She's like, "Now we only have you on 3 holes." I'm like, "Okay." And then like I get out there, and then like it's just like a pause in the action, event, and then like I'm standing, like playing the game, but my character's sitting in this bench. So within like my perspective, the bench has formed around my waist, and I am now encased in this bench by my caddy. And she's like, "Would you like some candy?"
And then you say,
And I'm like,
yes. And then she goes to hand it to
And
you.
I'm just like, yeah, and I'm just sitting, I'm standing, and I'm just like, I'm not real, and neither are you. And she's like, she goes to feed it to you. She goes, just kidding. And I'm like, this is the problem.
Yeah.
Is like,
It's so
It-
weird. It is so bizarre.
yeah, because it's like, it's this really awesome, like, beautiful, like everybody's golf in VR. Like, what more could you ask for? But it's also a non-interactive dating simulator. With your caddy. And I'm just like, I don't understand what you've done here.
And the caddies are like unusually enthusiastic and, like you said, lifeless.
And that's the game.
They're like
though.
lifeless almost.
Yeah, like everybody's golf is it's this weird science. Like Anthony Michael Hall brings the mannequin to life, and she's like, "I love the way you golf," but then you like double bogey, and she's like, "Fucking goddamn it! I hooked my cart to the wrong wagon. Oh my god!" Like, I've got to be positive, but it is fucking difficult.
Yeah, and then you see your results at the end, and it's just double bogey across the board. And then they're like,
But what's funny
they're like, let's try it again.
is she still tries to be really positive because she's like, "Look, it's a new personal record." It's like, it's still ass.
Oh my
It's
god,
still
that text
awful.
you sent me.
It's still +8. Yeah, she's like, "Oh look, a new personal record." And it's like,
It's all uphill
it's
from here.
+6.
Yeah.
It's +6. Like, let's just not talk about it. Like, that's like just getting a birthday card that's just like, "You're 1 year closer to death. Happy birthday."
Woo.
And it's like, neat.
So yeah, but I think aside from all the weird stuff, everybody's golf is I'm having so much fun with it. So
Same.
cool.
I'm hoping to have observation rather finished like tonight or tomorrow. But so hopefully the ending, like hopefully the rest of the story like is able to kind of maintain like this like nice little riptide it's got me pulled in. But I could see it. It's hard to write your way out of a sci-fi thriller, so I'm excited to see how they do
Right.
it.
Interesting.
But I cannot recommend observation enough.
Cool. So Josh, tell us what you've been playing, and then we'll get into our predictions.
I of course I checked out a little bit of
Team
Yeah.
Sonic Racing.
but not enough to really talk about other than just what Chris has said so far lines up with my thoughts. So I'll check out more of that. Chris and I are gonna try to stream it too, so we can get some multiplayer in. And then I just started playing A Plague Tale: Innocence. I don't want to talk too much about that because of course we're going to do separate
Cool.
episodes for reviews. When we were talking about that, we were thinking it might be better for people might not like somebody might care about one game and not the other.
And also
so it might be
spoilers.
better
You don't
that
want
way.
to get into spoiler territory. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What if somebody's like, I'm here for this Sonic game, but I haven't played this one. Yeah, so it'd be better for listeners, I think. But anyway, so I've played the first, 2 hours of it, maybe? Hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm really enjoying it so far. One thing that I think is very striking is the music. It's very ambient. It's very immersive. It's like these really discordant, like uncomfortable, almost like strikes of stringed instruments during moments of tension, which just serves to amplify it. And it's very good. It's got very good music, and it flows well with the atmosphere. Characters are very well written. And I say this as somebody who primarily plays on Xbox.
This plays like a first-party Sony exclusive in my
Wow.
opinion, as far as character development so far.
It reminds me of like Last of Us and God of War, and just in the
Is
relationship.
it really that good?
Well, just
I wouldn't, not necessarily in final score, and
in
yeah,
the relationship
I can't say
of, like,
that yet.
You're
but...
playing the whole game with another character next to you, you know.
And the characters feel well written and they feel realistic.
But yeah, you guys can talk about that on the other episode. What else have you've been playing? Life is Strange, right?
Yeah, well, I finished Life is Strange last week, and that left a giant hole in my heart.
I'm so happy.
And then I decided, why not keep going with this? Very, very good. And of course, just a reminder, Chris and I are going to be covering that soon on our new kind of side series in Active Quest called Quest Complete. That'll be episode 2 of that, and that's going to include special guest Grayson Morales from Twinfinite. So I'm not going to talk about that on this too much. But anyway, the sequel, or prequel, but it came out afterwards, is Life is Strange Before the Storm. And I really wanted to play that because I really enjoyed Life is Strange. And I like this a lot. It's 3 episodes as compared to like 5 from the regular main game. With a little bonus optional episode as well, kind of an epilogue of sorts. But yeah, I think this is some moments in this are better or just as good as the regular first game. But overall, the quality is pretty consistent and up there with Life is Strange. I really enjoyed it. I think anybody that liked Life is Strange would like Before the Storm. The pacing was very good too.
So, is it possible to just play Before the Storm without having played the original Life is Strange, or?
I wouldn't. I would put it up there with like Prometheus, where like it's kind of a prequel that's meant to be experienced after you play the main game. You know, it provides context that you might not care about or might not be as important if you haven't played the main game. So yeah, definitely play it after Life is Strange, but it goes more into detail with Chloe's Price, which was kind of the secondary character. I mean, main character. But, you don't play as her in the main game, but in this game you play as her, and it was very enjoyable. My only complaint with this game overall, and I actually tweeted about it, and a few people agreed with me. For some reason, your current objective is written on your hand, and that is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in the game because it constantly changes. Yeah. So is she just pause and you'd be like, "Oh, now I gotta go put this over there, the thing I just picked up." Okay, now that's just. Just let me hit the pause button or something. I mean, fuck. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. It's just really dumb.
2 questions, one about each game. With Plague Tale, I'm very interested by it, and I'm seeing it pop up early on people's Game of the Year talks. I don't like rats.
Then you probably shouldn't play it.
I know that's like the whole chief antagonist of the game, really, is the plague, and there's a lot of rats. But, like, I'm one of those things where it's like, is there ever like a rat king I have to face down?
No,
I don't know if Charlie Kelly's in it.
Alex, I don't think.
I'm in about 2 hours and I haven't seen a lot of rats.
I don't think there's a rat king, but there are part of like what makes that game so special are the rat physics, I guess is what you can call them. And I was actually talking with the game's creative director about this, and he was like really proud of what they did with this. Where like if you shine the light to the rats, I guess they like react to it, but it's not just like one unit of rats moving all together like in the same motion, like where it makes it seem not realistic. They all move like almost individually and organically. And so that's something that is like being touted, like, that they're really proud of the way they made the rats like individually feel like there could be a pack of rats, like 100 rats there, and they all seem like they have their own movement paths and everything. So that may make it seem more realistic, which to you, Alex, may be more terrifying. So I don't know, maybe maybe not on that.
So the other thing is with Before the Storm. So Before the Storm was done during the strike with the voice actors.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you notice like a discernible difference in like Chloe's voice with it not being Ashley Birch or anything like that?
I do, but this also takes place, of course, a couple of years earlier. So I don't think it's as distracting so much as
they kind of got away with it.
But it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. It was more like for the first like 30, 40 minutes, I was like, oh, this voice is different. And then after that, it was just, this is how she talks.
Got it. Okay, cool.
So,
cool.
Yeah. And then, without giving any spoilers to, have you? I'm going to be vague enough, but have you played the first game?
Life is Strange? Yeah.
Okay, so I'll be vague enough where you'll understand it, and people that have played the first game will understand it. But that moment where Chloe and Max end up parting ways in their story.
Yeah.
There's a bonus epilogue that kind of bonus episode that's in the deluxe version, and it takes place on that day. And it has the original voice actors, Ashley Birch, and I forgot the voice actor of Max.
I had heard about that because I know for a while the platinum was tied to the epilogue episode that was only tied that you only got if you got the collector's edition.
What?
I knew that was a big to do. So
That's kind of a bummer.
But that's since been fixed and patched out and everything. But for a brief moment there was a lot of controversy over the platinum for Before the Storm.
That makes perfect sense. That isn't really. Yeah, you don't want to lock a platinum behind
trophies and
an
platinums
epilogue
matter.
Or,
They
optional
matter.
DLC.
So
But yeah, so if you do get a little bit of a taste between those two voice actresses getting to interact, and it is cool because that was after the writer or the voice actor strike was over, so it was nice they didn't cross the picket line, and then when that was over, they got to come into the and just a little shout out of praise for Ashley Birch because I mean. I'm sure it had to have been at least 1% tempting, just a little tempting to want to do an entire game with that character that she got into the mind of, but it was during that strike, so it was nice that she didn't cross that picket line. But yeah, I would recommend it. And then I don't think the voice is really distracting. You'll notice it, but yeah, it quickly will fade.
So let me just quickly touch on what I've been playing, and then we'll get into some predictions here for E3. I talked last week on Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright. I'm still playing through that on the Switch. Those games are so cool, so weird.
Aren't they?
Man, like... in some aspects, I feel like they don't hold up just in terms of like the way they represent women can kind of be, like obviously these games are, 10, 15 years old. But if you can sort of like get past that and put yourself in the mindset of somebody playing it that long ago, they're really, really cool, man. And like I just love the quirky characters, and it's just different because I've been playing, sort of a very violent game right now, Resident Evil 4, and it's nice to balance them, go back and forth between the two different sorts of genres. But yeah, if you're into like
both ends of your Capcom boner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Also, Resident Evil 4's got some fun humor too. I like Leon's sense of humor.
Like Leon's haircut.
You compared it was it last week, Joseph, or a different week, when you compared the humor a little bit from Ace Attorney to Everybody's Golf? You said how it's kind of weird and bizarre.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It would only work in like an anime, like a sort of anime style video game. Like in any other context, it would be weird. But yeah, it's super rewarding when you like put together, oh, that doesn't make sense. That's a contradiction. And then you present the evidence, and then it turns out you're right. It's like so rewarding, I think.
Joseph, you gotta play Danganronpa.
I have it. I have played Danganronpa. I have it on my Vita. Yeah, I have it. I haven't finished it. Hell yeah, there's a platinum.
Yes, I have the platinum in the first Danganronpa.
Yeah. I haven't finished it.
I had to check for Joseph.
I've heard that there are connections to Phoenix Wright and Danganronpa, and for sure, I need to do that. It's on my to-do list. And then I mentioned I played Resident Evil 4. What more can you say about Resident Evil 4? It's one of the best action games ever, and I think despite it being really action oriented, it still fills in those like horror gaps more so than like Resident Evil 5 and 6 do. And it's so cool to have that on the go. So yeah.
And I smile whenever I play that game. That game is just so much fun.
I don't know, man. It's so weird what happened with that too. Like it was a GameCube exclusive, and then it came out on other platforms. And I remember beforehand, I think it was said that game would never come out on any other platforms, and then here we are. It's basically on everything. So it's kind of like.
There's actually a game. I forgot the name of the game, but there's a game where the director guy of Capcom that said this will never go to any other system, and he said if it did, he would cut his own head off.
What?
There's like a little racing type game. There's like a little racing type game that came out years later from Capcom, and his head's an unlockable character thing. And it's kind of a joke. Yeah,
you know what? I think
details,
I've seen that too.
yeah.
What game? I think maybe one of the Suda games.
I can't remember.
Or something. Weird. Huh.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I believe it is one of the Suda 51 games. But
yeah, it's Shinji Mikami talking about if Resident Evil 4 ever came to PlayStation.
Yeah, that's. I think.
I do want to ask you too, Joseph, because I'm sure I'm wondering. I'm sure other people are wondering too. Did that $30 price tag? Was that kind of
Yeah,
leave a bad taste
yeah,
in your mouth? Or
I'm part of
is
the
it-
problem.
okay.
I'm stupid and I shouldn't have done it. And
Well, no, I mean, we're all going to buy it,
it could
right?
be
I'm just wondering if,
and people will still
if
buy
that
it.
was...
So yeah, I hated paying for that because I bought that game several times already. But what can you do? Cool.
Yeah,
So that's
true,
all
yeah.
I've been playing, just 2 ports or remakes of older games. So yeah, let's jump into our E3 prediction. So let's do it round robin style here, where we'll each take turns. We've got
Yum.
3 predictions each. Alex, let's throw it over to you if that's okay.
Yeah, no, you're cool. You caught me mid sneeze by stifling.
Oh, that's good. That's a skill. That's something you have to develop when you have your own podcast and you're the host and everything. Yeah.
It can be no. I just sneezed into the mic and don't edit it out. But so yeah, I like doing these because I kind of just going off the wall, as Joseph knows. But so my first prediction now, 1 and 2 here are tangentially linked, and we'll get to 2 later, obviously. But I feel like if one of these doesn't happen, the other one will in reverse. So either way, first prediction: Microsoft will not bring a car on stage.
Oh, I forgot about
And
that.
but what does that really mean? Does that mean no Forza this year?
Well, obviously they're going to talk a new Forza.
Well,
And
No, they actually brought
No,
a car
yeah, I
on
know
stage
that.
for
I-
Forza one year.
I
It was
don't
a
think they've done it only once.
Yeah.
I feel like this has been something they
Right.
do. But Microsoft, if they were to announce a new Forza, there will not be a car brought on stage.
See-
I think if they're going to focus entirely on like the future and the new systems, they can tease a new Forza. They can show, hey, this is how Forza plays in this. But in no way, shape, or form is Microsoft going to be like, and we've got the Porsche here we're talking about.
you know what? Now that you mention it, Alex, I think they have done that several years. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one time. Interesting. And their presentation is going to be over 2 hours long, so there's plenty of room for
Plenty of
cars
time.
there. So I don't know. You could be right, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Alex, what if they bring out a car for every game?
Actually, they just pull the curtain back and be like, the Xbox car. It's like, shit. It's the whole basis of the presentation.
The Battletoads Jeep.
Cool. All right, Chris, what is your prediction? Your first prediction?
Okay, so this is kind of Microsoft related. So Banjo-Kazooie and Sora become DLC for Super Smash Bros. Kingdom Hearts 3 and Rare Replay are coming to Switch as well just to go with the announcement. So
yeah.
I can see a lot of like push for these 2 characters to be in Smash. Like we've seen a lot of we've seen a lot of friendly actions coming from Microsoft, with Cuphead on Switch, and we've also seen like Minecraft and Cuphead being like 1 and 2 on the Nintendo eShop right now, so they're very buddy. So I think Banjo-Kazooie could very well be in Smash at some point this E3, and like it.
Minecraft, I just wanted to add to your Minecraft thing too. They also are like really integrated with the Nintendo Switch. Like you actually get achievements on the Xbox version or on your Xbox profile from the Nintendo Switch version.
That's so cool,
like,
man.
It's
Oh,
neat.
God.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, Chris, I'm with you on this. I think Rare Replay is probably the safe. God, I don't know, man.
I love that idea.
Yeah, Chris, I didn't even think about that. I like that you mentioned that because that is possible. I could see
They
them
could just
doing
throw
that.
it on there. Most of the games on Rare Replay have a Nintendo Foundation, so I think it makes perfect sense for that game to be on there. And Unreal Engine is very transferable for Kingdom Hearts 3, for example. So I think it could run on the Switch.
Yeah. And that's what I was gonna say. As someone who has played Kingdom Hearts a lot, you do think it would run on the Switch okay, or do you think they'd have problems?
They'd have to downgrade it a bit, but I think it's possible. Unreal is a very capable engine, so I think it could definitely make it run on Switch, I think. And Sora has like a big push right now within the Smash Brothers community. Whenever you see polls up, you say Sora's usually on top. So I'm super excited to see what Nintendo announces at E3. And if you're gonna have big characters come to Super Smash Brothers, E3's the time to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. All right, Josh, what's your first prediction?
My first prediction is I could definitely see Square Enix releasing the first episode of Final Fantasy VII Remake, either at E3
You're
or like, hey, it's
crazy,
coming out
man.
this week.
You're completely crazy.
like, okay, I could see that happening. Like, in my mind, I can picture it happening. But man, just given the development cycle, I don't know how that could be.
I used to think that too, but then Chris reminded me that like after they wrapped up Kingdom Hearts 3, they locked everyone up and made them all work on Final Fantasy 7, and they added a second director. I mean, the locked up part's a joke, of course, but like, you know, they everyone hands on deck. Yeah. Is it crunch?
I don't know, man.
I could see a demo, but man, if they were just like whole first episode.
But then we get into the territory of what does that even mean in terms of an episode? Like, is an episode?
I think before they said like each like main area would be more detailed and more developed and be its own episode. Is that right?
No, what I want to say is it's a very common belief that the episodes should be like 10 hours long or something, but I honestly, I think these games are going to be full games, these episodes, and it's going to be like the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy where they're in different parts.
Oh,
right?
If that's the case, then there's no way. There is no way they would put that out.
Yeah.
I mean, prove us wrong, Josh. I would love to see that, but unless
I honestly think it's going to be November. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to prove you guys wrong because you guys are buddies.
I would love to be proven wrong with that, but man, and I say unless those episodes are short, like 5 to 10 hour, like pieces of content, then there's no way they're gonna drop a full 60-hour game in June. I just don't see that happening. But prove us wrong, please do, because I would love to play that. I'm so curious. I'm like morbidly curious about that, just given the development.
What especially makes me think this is possible is Square's like all in on E3 when Sony announced their silly decision to not come to E3, and Square actually booked their time slot. So like I feel like they're not just gonna be like showing off some willy-nilly announcements. I feel like they're going all in.
Could be. I'm curious to see what happens with that. Cool. So my first prediction: Splinter Cell finally gets revealed. I think this is a safe bet. Like, because especially since Ubisoft said that they've got like 3 unannounced games or something before the first quarter of next year or something. You know, like before the end of their fiscal year. I don't see how. What else could it be, right? Unless it's like. Because I think we talked on this last week. Like we were thinking like Rayman, Splinter Cell, and like Beyond Good and Evil or something. I can't remember what it was, or Watch Dogs.
But you and I are both like Rayman and Splinter Cell.
Watch Dogs for sure. I think is coming out this year. It's going to be set in London, and I think Splinter Cell. Now, I don't know what they could do with it. Like I don't know what my wishes are. I haven't really thought too much on that. I just know that we haven't seen a Splinter Cell since 2013, and I'm just like itching to play a new stealth game with Sam Fisher in it, and I really do think this is going to be the year. I know every year we're like, this is going to be the year, and we get disappointed, but man,
to give you some info that might support your belief here, I wanted to tell you 2 things. One, Conviction and Blacklist are both part of Xbox's backwards compatibility sale, and 2, they're like $8 too, great deal. And 2, our boy Shinobi on Twitter is playing a Blacklist right now, and like he plays all kinds of games. The fact that he's tweeting about playing Splinter Cell Blacklist makes me think like he's got to know something.
He's pretty. He knows something.
He knows something.
Could be.
And also, Walmart Canada leaked Splinter Cell alongside Rage 2.
Canada. They're just like an arm of marketing.
That's actually where E3 starts.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen that joke before. Like that's the first week of E3 is Walmart Canada.
Dude, I would love a new 2D Rayman.
Oh yeah. I think
me too. Origins and Legends,
and I think that's
fantastic.
Totally likely too, especially like maybe to get it like launched for the new systems, like a nice platformer that's accessible for everybody. I think that's a really good idea too. So I could see that happening.
I think Rayman's almost guaranteed to come out this year because we haven't had a new one since 2013 or 14.
All right,
I like to see a new 3D one, but 2D's cool too.
That's either one. A new Rayman would be cool. Alex, what's your next prediction? Second one.
We're sticking with Ubisoft here. I think Just Dance 2020, when it's revealed, will still come to the Nintendo Wii.
And I agree.
But here's the thing. Now, I talked about this with the first guess. If it does not come to the Wii, then Microsoft brought a car on stage. Like, I don't think we will get an E3 where we don't have a car and Just Dance comes to the Wii. I think if they're like, and for the first time Just Dance isn't coming to the Wii, Microsoft's gonna be like, vroom vroom motherfuckers on Saturday night or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Now, Alex, do you think it'll come to the Wii and the Switch?
no, it'll be
come
both.
out of it, yeah. Because
Just Dance,
because I can see
I
Ubisoft
remember
making
Just
that
Dance
decision.
still moves mad units.
oh hell
on the
yeah,
Wii.
dude! I remember working at GameStop. I think you and I working at the same store, and a Just Dance launch was coming up, and we would see pre-orders for it for the Wii in like 2016, still for the Wii,
Something like that, yeah.
And we're just like, what? And then still 4 years later, however, 2019 now, we still see that. So yeah, I am totally on board with this.
People should check on that.
Yeah, who's developing
well,
these
I mean,
games?
like well, you got to figure though, right? Like the Just Dance games were just massive movers and shakers on the Wii. Like when those things came out, like we would get like 65, 70, 85 copies shipped to us. Then the prices get slashed around Black Friday, like day after Christmas or whatever. So they're just getting moved out the door. And like Joseph said, 2019, like last year's E3, like it's still coming to the Wii. And it's like, okay, there is no God. And Just Dance 2020 is also going to come to the Wii. It just makes sense. This, I would say, is my safest prediction.
I'm with you.
Out of the three.
But Microsoft will not deliver
Right.
that.
Exactly.
They might.
So interesting. Yeah, I'm totally on board with that. Cool. Chris, next prediction.
Okay, mine's a little crazy. Marvel vs. Capcom makes a comeback. Infinite gets a makeover with new characters and a new name, Marvel vs. Capcom 4.
Huh.
I think they'll try to reskin it. Infinite try to fix like the errors with the graphics, and the graphics look kind of nasty for a fighting game, right? And they want it to be stylish like the classic kind of Marvel vs. Capcom games. And I think now with Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 having X-Men characters, I think that those could be included in the new Marvel vs. Capcom game, and that was a big issue with Infinite,
Especially with the
people.
rights being under one roof now, too.
And for those who don't know, explain what the biggest issues were in Infinite, because I'm not too familiar with that. You
Yeah,
said
so
the
Marvel
visuals
vs.
were
Capcom
weird.
Infinite kind of had the same characters. It had it didn't bring a lot of new stuff to the table. They actually used some of the same animations from Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And the graphics looks a little horrible because they were trying to have like
horrible.
an MCU. Yeah, a bit horrible. With the MCU kind of look, Chun-Li was like criticized. The model for Chun-Li was kind of criticized during like the trailers, and it was like a big nightmare for that game's development. So yeah, I think we haven't seen Capcom make a new fighting game for a long time, like since Infinite. So I think maybe they might try to repackage Marvel vs. Capcom and make it inviting again to people.
Interesting.
That'd be a very surprising announcement.
Yeah, this feels kind of... I could see this happening. I could definitely see this happening.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, I definitely know that they want to win back fans. I don't know if it would be this soon, but definitely I think it's something that they should at least look into, and maybe, I don't know. I don't know if don't you think it might be a little too soon? I don't know. I think people might still be sour on it.
It's been out 2 or 3 years, so I think if they remodel it, they be completely clear about, okay, what we did wrong with Infinite has been fixed in Marvel vs. Capcom 4. I think that could win a lot of fans back. And that's kind of like Capcom's mantra right now, is like they're going back to their old franchises, they're fixing their stuff, they're making great games again, and I think they want their fighting games to be up that level, as the same as Resident Evil 2 Remake and Devil May Cry 5. So that's my theory.
All right, Josh, next prediction.
This one's quick, and I think very likely. Super Mario 3D World from the Wii U will end up on the Switch with new content. I was already thinking this was going to happen, not only because it's a fucking great game and it should, but I was also... I mean, we've seen some Wii U ports, and we saw Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which originated as a game from the levels in 3D World, but also the 3D World filter or whatever playset in Super Mario Maker 2 also leads me to believe that Nintendo will kind of use that to kind of lean into this announcement.
I think this prediction and Just Dance coming to the Wii are probably the safest ones out of all of our predictions. Yeah, totally with you on this one. I think I would be pretty shocked to not see at least an announcement for a 3D World, because that's a game that was so awesome that nobody played.
It's so great, yeah. Like, and we've talked about this before, Joseph, but like the Wii U may have, you know, quote unquote failed. I mean, we could that's a whole thing, but like let's just say it failed because it, you know, compared to other Nintendo systems, it did. I don't think it failed at all because of first party output. Like the first party support in that thing was fantastic. I would say one of Nintendo's most supported systems as far as, you know, first party stuff goes. And so I'm glad to see all these games getting ported because these are great games.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would love to see that maybe holiday this year. Cool.
Oh, so
yeah.
cool.
My next prediction is that Fable 4 will be announced. And the studio. Let's see, the Playground. Thank you. Yes.
Playground.
Playground was reported to be working on a Fable game. I think it's going to be a next gen Xbox game. Just because Microsoft is, you know, wanting to shift gears and move everything over to next gen and sort of wash their hands of this generation. And yeah, that's all I really have on that. I don't really have anything in mind with it. Just I would love a new Fable game, and I think now is the time to do it. Yeah,
it's time.
And I think with all these acquisitions they've had, I think they're going to want to just keep that momentum rolling and everything during their presentation. I think Fable 4 for sure. Cool. Alex, your last prediction.
Let me paint the scene.
Do it.
It's Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, the real time zone of America. And we sit anxiously waiting to see what Square Enix has to show, because they're taking Sony's spot. They're taking the E3 prime time slot. Now, what do they got? Ooh, we got that Final Fantasy remake we showed you 4 years ago. Oh, here's a Kingdom Hearts 3 bass clef. You know, what we have this alleged Avengers project that is apparently real. What are they gonna show for the rest of it? Because what are they gonna do? What are they just gonna do? Re-air that fucking symphony from the night before or whatever? No, they're gonna show. Because Square Enix has developers under their umbrella, and they have one that has been relatively quiet, thus kind of also split up between some other things, and that is Crystal Dynamics. Woo! Now, Crystal Dynamics has not developed a game that has been published since Rise of the Tomb Raider, which was 2015. Now, what does that mean they're doing? Well, they're just going back to the well. They're going back to their roots.
I'm so excited for
they are going to show off whether it's a remaster or a new title altogether. In a world where neo-Gothic art is popular again, thanks to the likes of a game like Bloodborne or The Souls, Legacy of Kain is back.
Yeah. That would be incredible. Now, you touched on maybe it's a port or a remake or a remaster. What do you think? I mean, what do you think is more likely? A sequel or?
So, yeah, I mean, you've got like Blood Omen was the first one where you play as like the actual like bad guy, and then there's Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, which is what kind of like propelled that franchise into some sort of semblance of a mainstream light. Then you have Soul Reaver 2 and so on and so forth. I could see them like doing like a Soul Reaver 2 double like remaster thing just to kind of reintroduce the franchise, and then be like, and we've got a new Legacy of Kain coming in summer of 2020. Like do like a sort of like Crash Spyro kind of situation where it's like, here's this, we're just gonna test the waters. I think,
Alex, if you're in charge, can you make that happen for me? Because
I wish. Just like call Crystal Dynamics right now. Like, what are you doing? Not Soul Reaver? Cancel it. You're doing Soul Reaver. Have it ready in 2 weeks.
Sorry to be a buzzkill, but they're actually working on the Avengers project.
That's what I was thinking too.
That's what I thought too. But I mean,
they're working on Avengers right now. So unless there's like 2 different teams, I don't know.
And here's the thing, Chris.
Crunch.
Is the Avengers project isn't real.
That's true.
It doesn't exist. It's never happening. You are right there, and that could be, you know, like Eidos Montreal could be picking up the tab for Soul Reaver, whatever. But I think
I like to think that the Avengers game wasn't real, but then the rumors happened. They're like,
I guess we have to now.
People want that.
Can we put some assets together? But no, if I could supplant that with another pipe dream wish, it's Yubi announcing a new Prince of Persia. But I'm gonna hang my hat on Legacy of Kain making its return, thanks to the popularity of like the Souls games.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Now, speaking of games that are sort of like the Souls games ish, Chris, what's your last prediction?
Okay,
Bloodborne.
So I'm not really familiar with this series, but I have a really good feeling about this. So I think Dragon's Dogma 2 will be shown at the Xbox conference, and it's going to be directed by Hideaki Itsuno, who worked on Devil May Cry 5. And you might say, hey, that's a bit soon. But the thing is that he has a second team that has already been working on a project. So I think it's Dragon's Dogma 2 because he was the director of that game originally.
And with the success of the remaster they did of the first one, especially on Switch, I think it's clear that the interest is there for a sequel, and I think that would look really, really cool. So what do you think? Do you think that it's an exclusive, or just it's shown at Microsoft?
I don't think it's an exclusive. Just like Devil May Cry 5, it's just going to be shown during the presentation. And it's going to have a really good reveal.
Yep, and when
it's kind of hard to show it at the PlayStation.
They're not there. Yeah.
They're not doing one. I'm
and
so
when
mad.
do you think this comes out? Dragon's Dogma 2?
2020.
2020? Okay. For
2021 maybe.
Like a cross-gen game maybe? For both?
Maybe,
systems? Yeah. Cool.
I could see that, yeah.
Real quick, if I could circle back real fast, because I just did a quick Googling on Crystal Dynamics, just because I know you're right there, Chris. So the Avengers project is being developed by Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, but in August of 2018, Square Enix announced Crystal Dynamics opening a satellite studio in Dothan,
that's what I said,
Washington, called Crystal Northwest, which is going to assist with the Avengers game and future Crystal Dynamics
There
projects.
it is. Okay.
So there is Crystal Northwest could be having a hand in something else outside
Especially if they're starting with a remake, remaster of the first two. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm a little bit more sold on it now that it's confirmed that there's another studio. I thought I heard that.
Another thing I'd like to
sold
ask
Reaper?
you, Alex, do you think Amy Hennig would work on that project?
I don't think so, because she just launched her own
Yeah, she
studio.
Right.
So she just rolled out her own thing that's going to be I think separate from anything else, that she's finally going to be able to make the games that she's always wanted.
Yeah.
I would
Good.
love
Whatever
that.
they are, they'll be fucking awesome.
Yeah, but I think she's so far removed from all that stuff now that she has reached that status and that echelon of I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, she's earned it.
And I think that's what she's finally going to get to do.
Kind of like Kojima, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Where people are just going to fund what she wants to do.
All right, Josh, last prediction.
Okay, so this is a pipe dream, just like Alex, but it's real to me, and it has to happen, okay? All right, so let me paint a picture for you. It's 2013. Microsoft's put up a pretty good fight against Sony, and they're overall neck and neck. I know Sony won in the end, but when you think about last gen, I think everyone thinks about 360. Microsoft's not listening to its fans, just like Sony's not listening to their fans a lot now, because they don't need to, because they're feeling cocky. Okay, well, they just got their ass kicked a whole bunch, and so now I feel like they're going to listen to their fans a little bit more, especially with Phil Spencer showing up and, wanting to change Xbox, turn it around. He's been doing really good so far. I'm really happy with a lot of the stuff he's done. Anyway, the stage is set. It's ready. It's time. We're going to get Alan Wake 2 or Quantum Break 2 announced, because they need exclusives, and more importantly, they now have so many studios that they've acquired / built with the initiative that there's less pressure, kind of like you were talking with Ubisoft, and they don't have to just make one franchise really well. There's less pressure with they don't have to have one or two huge franchises anymore. Now they can kind of have these projects that aren't going to sell as well because there's less pressure now. And Alan Wake wasn't renewed for a sequel because it didn't sell as well as other games. Well, that doesn't really matter now because they can they've got more room to stretch now. So I think we're going to get Alan Wake 2 or Quantum Break 2. I'd be happy at either one. I absolutely love both those games, and I'm a huge Remedy fan, and I want to see these games announced, and I think if we're going to get it, we're going to get it now. So pretty much for me, if it doesn't get even just a Dragon Age 4 style teaser where they just say this is happening, if we don't get that at E3 this year, then I'm pretty much expecting us not to, get it at all or in any time soon at all. I think if we're going to get it, now's the time.
So you talked about Remedy specifically, with them being busy on Control. If they don't have the the team or whatever to be able to pump out a new Alan Wake or a new Quantum Break, who would you want to see under like Microsoft's kind of, would you just say the initiative in general, or who would you want to see like kind of at the helm of those?
I would either. That's a good question. I think if it's good, if Remedy did it, I don't think it'd come up for a few years. We'd get like a Dragon Age 4 style teaser. But if Remedy's not going to do it, then I would really like to see Compulsion games work on it.
That's a good idea.
Because I know We Happy Few was very, very mixed reception-wise, but one thing I want to remind everybody of is that was essentially their first game, to my knowledge.
They did Contrast.
People there
Contrast. They had Contrast, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And they didn't have a ton of money for that game either. And also the expectations are really high because of that huge reception that they received, hugely positive reception they got. So I'm just saying, with Microsoft funding and without the pressures of like having to, stress and worry, I think that they could do a really good job on an Alan Wake, Quantum Break. And I specifically say them because, there's talent there, but also like they're really good at blending the surreal with the real. And that's Alan Wake and Quantum Break in a nutshell, especially Alan Wake.
And,
really both of them.
And Josh, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go to bat for you if I can. I have an interview set up with Remedy, with one of the developers or something of Control, and I'll do what I can for you. I'll put it to you that way. I don't know how much they'll talk on it, but I'll try.
Bring it up, and then if you could get some of his like hair for me.
I can't wait to see the transcription of this interview where Joseph's just like, now you made Quantum Break and Alan Wake. How come this game also doesn't rhyme?
Yeah. I think we will see at least an Alan Wake 2. I don't know this soon, but
if we don't get that announcement, then like I said, I'm just not expecting it to happen. I'm just gonna tell myself it all. I think if we're gonna get it, now's the time.
All right, so I've got my last prediction, and then we'll close out the show here. So my prediction, and again, this is sort of a safe one. All of mine have been pretty safe. Is that Resident Evil 3 remake will be announced and is possibly coming out as soon as maybe. I would love to see it like Halloween of this year, fall of this year, but
that's crazy.
Ooh.
But yeah, well, here's my no.
Crunch.
Here's my
Crunch.
theory. Here's my theory though. So both of those games are intrinsically linked. They happen. Some parts happen at the same time. And so I feel like they were working on them at the same time. And
there could be a lot of shared assets.
There's no way to me that they just worked on 2 and were like, let's see how 2 does, and then start working on a 3. No. I'm so confident that they were working on 2 primarily, and then had a smaller team working on 3, and then once the inevitable success of the second one happened, then they can push it through on the third one there. Yeah,
they kicked it into full gear probably.
In terms of the mainline Resident Evil games, 3 is the only one that really hasn't been touched again, right? Like,
we haven't.
4's out on everything. 2's been on like N64 and like multiple generations.
I think the last time 3 was touched was GameCube, and even that was just a port.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. And that was a lazy ass port.
It wasn't good at all.
And there's a funny little thing that Capcom tweeted. It was a picture of like a wall like busted through, sort of like the Kool-Aid Man, like busted through, and it was like, oh, clearly this person doesn't know how to use doors. What do you think? What do you guys think happened here? And the comments are just Nemesis, like all the way down. And yeah, I think we're absolutely seeing that. Yeah, maybe a little too soon for this holiday, but I think my main point is that it's coming sooner than you think because the games were being developed at the same time. So, and in terms of where that's announced, that could be an issue since last time Resident Evil 2 was announced on the Sony stage.
Xbox.
Maybe.
Xbox.
I mean, hell, maybe they'll announce it in the Xbox stage. Years and years ago, it was very, very early talks. Like, nothing came from it, but Xbox was trying to court Capcom with having Resident Evil 4 appear in the Xbox. I mean, that didn't happen instead of the GameCube. That didn't happen, of course, but I'm just saying they might try to get it to like release a week earlier.
And I know,
who knows?
that Microsoft and Capcom are friends too. I mean, wasn't most of the promotion for Devil May Cry 5 on Xbox
stuff,
Yep, it was. Yeah, the demo came out
so
first.
I don't think that's outside of the realm.
And it's Resident Evil 3. I mean, dude, they could drop a YouTube trailer like on their own YouTube channel that day, and it would blow up. So that means that could happen too.
Wow, huh?
They don't say a word; they just drop the trailer and walk away. Yeah, yours were really exciting. I think everybody's were exciting, but like yours were exciting because yours I could like I would bet money those are all going to happen.
We had some crazy
you know?
ones. I don't know, man. The Legacy of Kain. I don't know. Maybe.
Fuck you, Joseph.
No, I want it so bad. Stop.
Know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the Marvel vs. I don't know. There's a couple weird ones we threw out there, but we'll see how it shakes up. E3, not to scare you guys, but is I think 2 weeks away. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yep.
I know you're going, Joseph. Are you going, Alex?
No. I don't got that plane ticket money.
Maybe Chris and I could have you on in Joseph's place as a guest. That
possibly,
week.
yeah.
He's gone.
You have my blessing. Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Can you dress up like Joseph so it doesn't feel weird?
I will have to go to Disney and find the pirate's wig
God.
that I tried on when I said I was Joseph once.
All right. Cool. So, yeah, I know we were planning on the episode not being this long, but, of course, with it being E3 predictions and an extra person, it's inevitable. So thank you, everybody, for sticking with us. So that's been episode 24 of Active Quest here. Let's do our plugs and everything. Alex, if you'd like to go first, where can people find you online? What are you doing when you're not on Active Quest?
So you can find me Monday nights. I do the PlayStation Forecast live on twitch.tv/pressxtoalex. If you don't catch it live, it goes up on YouTube and podcast services Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern. So just adjust your schedules accordingly. Unless you're on a fake time zone like Mountain Time, then just GTFO. But
Chris.
Dude, Mountain Time's trash. It's not even in like a whole state except for like Arizona, and half that state doesn't even acknowledge daylight savings time. So what's the point? But no, Monday nights, twitch.tv/pressxtoalex, do the PlayStation Forecast live. Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern time, the video and audio file go up on youtube.com/pressxtoalex and podcast services. And then Wednesday nights, I stream for an hour, 2 hours a night on twitch.tv /pressxtoalex as well as YouTube. And then you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/pressxtoalex.
I also love how passionate you are about time zones. You have a lot of
No, I'm not passionate about time zones, just fuck Mountain Time.
I want that a t-shirt just because people will be like, wow.
And just to piggyback off of that, please check out Alex's stuff. Man.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I appreciate what you do, Alex, and I know that running a one-man podcast is no easy feat, especially, with no budget, basically. So totally, I feel you on that.
I'm tired a lot.
I bet. And, being a dad and everything and a full-time job, it's a lot. So shout out to you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool. Chris, where can people find you when you're not on Active Quest?
Yeah, you can find me at Penwell Writes on Twitter. I'm going to be writing a Castlevania review on Rapid Reviews UK. And, you can check out the next Active Quest episode is like a mini-sode on Team Sonic Racing.
Yeah, and then will you also be on the Plague Tale one? Talking about that one?
I don't know yet. We'll see.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah, because I haven't got an accessible copy yet. So.
Someone's got to talk to
and Josh, where can people find you online, or what are you working on?
I'm on Twitter at Mr. Josh Nichols. I stream. I almost said I Twitch. I do Twitch, but I stream on Twitch here and there. Jerk77. I'm on here.
And you're
on
also
Active Quest
you're working on the
well.
Plague Tale review for us as well, right?
Yeah. I'm working on the Plague Tale review. I'm hoping to have that soon. It's a lot, like emotionally. So it's not something I feel comfortable binging. So I'm hoping to have that finished this week.
Cool. And then with me, you can find me at PlayStation Lifestyle, covering news and a whole bunch of other stuff. Like I said, I'm going to be at E3 covering the show. I've got some interviews in the works and some appointments. So hopefully we'll have some interesting stuff to talk about there. I'm on Twitter at Joseph Yaden. And then, of course, you can find our show here, Active Quest, on pretty much wherever podcasts are. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, Google Play. We've got shirts that Chris took the liberty of getting set up for us, so thank you for doing that. You can find those on Teespring. We've got a link to that in the description for you. We've got some other stuff in the works too. We do have our Patreon up right now. We've got our $1 tier, and I think, Alex, you've got that as well, right? Where people can toss you a buck.
I do, yeah. I totally forgot to plug that
Yeah,
thing.
so let's just do it now. Yeah. So, you can toss either of us a buck. It's just a donation, like I mentioned before, this is a passion project and this isn't our job. And so it's nice to get a little bit back and at least cover the cost of, hosting it on our platform. So.
And of course, it could help us even do more at some point too. And then I also wanted to tell you just really quick, we are going to add some more tiers with more content in the near future. But yeah, right now you're right. We do just have the $1 tier,
and one
the
thing
$20 tier, which is
I also wanted to say is that I want to do a series for Active Quest where I'm interviewing game characters, and it'd be kind of funny. It'd be like a spoof kind of thing. So,
we've got a bunch of ideas in
do.
the works. It's just we're working on it. So thank you everybody for your patience with that. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Alex, for coming on the show and being a guest. This has been episode 24, and we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Woo. Bye.
Take care, y'all.
All right, everybody, and we.
Being a guest is
oh
easy.
God, no! Here, let's try it again. Let's try that again. So whomever is editing, sorry. Okay. All right, Oh my God! I'm gonna jump through this mic and strangle you. All right, here we go. This is us getting back into the show.